Hello everybody, welcome back to From Rhythm to Algorithm. We continue on with our derivation, trying to find the stabilizing syllability for what is sensorality, showing the direct iteration of the letters to complete our physical proof. Continuing on with some derivation and then getting back into some concepts. Sufficiency is a minimum. Sufficiency suffices. Charging tenses, tensing charges. All right, we finished with the discussing static electricity. You take a balloon, you rub it on your skin or on your head, and your hair sticks up. Right, you're just separating, like you're pushing the negative charges away, so the electrons around your hair kind of bond up temporarily with the electric potential of the balloon. And so we also talked about chronicity. And how it spells out chronic, but the pronunciation, right, is chronology, is chronicity chronological, or is chronology chronic. Again, obviously, linguistic similarity, structure of the word, but logically, right, chronicity is the base of synchronicity. And so what's kind of things that go on for a long time, and then synchronicity has a lot better intuitive established, right? If someone says, you synchronize with me, we did it at the same time. But if you said it's chronistic, it's like chronograph, like what are we, what's this relationship there? Vibration synchronizes, right? You take a piano string, you play the E minor, or take any tone, you play the tone, and the other piano strings will start vibrating. So vibration synchronizes. Rhythm waves, right? We talked about the speed of light. So we've derived, again, it's so hard to say. I just got a comment, somebody comments on their legendary, some parts are a bit rambly, but this is fire for a small channel. This is a complete first principle derivation of all logical structure. I mean, look at the results we've already proven. I mean, we've physically derived that this is a stabilized charge. I mean, that's like the biggest physical result ever. But again, it's just a slew of massive result after massive result. And then you see, and just one person will click on one video. And again, we watch somebody go 9 times x equals third, equals 3, but kind of getting a direct numerical result. And now you're getting direct, like, logical results. And so the reason it's fire is because it resonates with your intuition, and nobody's ever described physics correctly. Like, that's never been done before. So people just like miss what's going on. But we talked about, again, we derived speed of light, right? No one says velocity of light. Like, we've derived why that's occurred, and like what is really the differentiation made by saying speed and velocity. Because people say velocity to vector, but to me, you can't have a speed, any sort of rate of change without a direction, right? dx dt, right? The change of x, right? Right? X is just a variable. It can be up, down, left, right, forward, or backward, right? So I don't know how you have any sort of speed, which is definitely a term of velocity, without a direction. But we do, right? And so, right, the speed of light is a radiation limit, right? Radiation waves. When you see your stove or your grill outside and that there's a heat wave, what is that phenomenon right there? It's not a particle traveling through right, the world. That's something vibrating and distorting. But again, it's like the absence of mass is space. And so rhythm waves. Do waves vibrate? All right, trying to describe that phenomenon. You see a physical ripple in the water, a wave. And then you see a heat wave, and again, things are discrete. There was no mass between this particle and that other particle over there. And so we have defined mass, and the absence of presence is literally absence. But regardless, do waves vibrate? Again, just these questions are rhetorical to get your intuition, and again, the words contain the resolutions. Propagation, appropriation. Sensorality appropriates, right? Waves propagate. Is vibration propagation? Linguistically, yes. Like anything that rhymes is logically close. Sensorality appropriates. Sensorality propagates. Sensorality is priality, right? Triality, like the prefix for 3, triality, and then it forms trial, priality, just getting closer to this reduced linguistic form. Locality limits. What is velocity to gravity? So again, gravity, reality, velocity, all of these words that have it in them, right? It is what it is. You should be able to see it overwhelmingly apparent in a ton of different words because it's the actual form of all solutions, right? Like literally. And then you derive down from 5 to 3. But velocity, again, is one of these generalized words, and then we're just always just going up and down this specific general scale to find, because again, we're not talking about that many different things. We're just showing this iteration of the letters and of the words to represent the different physical concepts that have differentiated from vibration. But again, just the form of the words is what I'm getting at with what is velocity to gravity. But linearity does not exist. And this is another theorem. Again, all of these statements are theorems, and then I'm trying to generalize them analyze them into a proof. Establish a fact, specifically what is sensorality. But what I mean is, right, linearity, I kind of found like squareality, right? You have a line and you have a square, you have a cube, cubality, right? People will always appeal logically to, the progress isn't linear. Well, it's not linear. That's not linear. It says it all the time. And so, but like physically, no geometric objects exist, right? You have mass, and then you have representation of that mass. Because everything's moving, nothing is like a precise sphere or a precise cylinder or any of these precise geometric shapes. But we always have this appeal to linearity. And so linearity is the complete word for the complete geometric set, right? The difference between 2 points is a line, and that's linearity. And so whatever reason, we appeal to that completed geometric geometric complete thing with logically, right? That's not linear, right? People typically don't say that's not quadratic or that's not some other geometric shape. You do say you don't square the circle, you can't square the circle, and you can't fit a round peg or square peg through a round hole. We went through that, but there's just some sort of logical phenomenon with the use of linearity. Sensorality is precariosity. And so velocity, precariosity, and now we've arrived at a natural derivation for a definition of power, right? Power is what I have, energy, velocity. And this is just a natural progression. Again, it's hard, like we've just referenced that comment on my channel. It's just, I've literally derived everything. And people just like, they don't get that. They don't get how comprehensive what has occurred has happened. And this is my 4th time doing it, twice publicly. Please pay me my money. I'm not trying to convince anybody of anything. It's my right to my writings and discoveries, so on and so forth. But power is energy, velocity. Right? Conceptually, you probably like maybe balk and want to say no, but you can't. Think about it. Right? Think about it. What is it? What is it? But energy, the capacity to do work, velocity, change, I want to say even like velocity, rapidity. Velocity is rapidity. And so, right, power, if I power on my cell phone, what am I doing? I have a battery in there, it's got some charge, so it's got a stored potential, a storage disparity difference. If my phone's off, I'm sorted, somehow the circuit's just not closed or like moving or engaged. Then I turn it on, and then, right, we have movement. We have electricity circling around being diffused to do work. And so conceptually, right, power is energy, velocity. How fast the capacity of work changes, right? If you have a lot of power, you can get a lot of things done quickly, right? You have the potential to do a lot of work. So power is energy, velocity. And we derive that linguistically. So it kind of might sound a little funny, and then you think about it and say, well, what is power, right? The amount of energy transferred, right? It's energy velocity. So we derive that, a complete natural derivation of, and I would label this at this point, again, the fundamental theorem of physics. Brad, the fundamental theorem of physics has changed quite a bit, and it does. This process never stops, it just keeps going. And any fundamental theorem is the most comprehensive thing you can say about a given section of ontology. So that's a very, very poignant result. Moving on. Velocity is rapid. Rapidity is censorious. When we're talking about our stock trading and you're in that momentum trade and you're on the right side of it and you're just feeling the rising falcon and the yachts and the Lambos and the Birkin bags, all right, it's censorious, right? It's the feeling of riding a roller coaster. Censorious is glorious. Sensuality glorifies, right? Look at all of history. People whitewash any bad history event in every single culture, and we glorify our great leaders and people who led us. My dad's line, dad, our great leader, supreme leader, here, and there. Sensuality glorifies. Sensuality is glorifiality. Velocity is ferocious. Velocity, ferocity. Sensuality is ferocitality. Sensuality is soricity. I don't know, it doesn't matter. Essence is essential. Sensuality essentiates. Sensuality is essensality. Just trying to generalize essence. Sensuality is prescient. Sensuality is prescientality. Sensuality is apprenticeship. And so, again, you can hear these base words in the phonetic just kind of like bouncing along. So I'm just extending out this logical derivation until we exhaust everything, all iterations of sen and sor. And again, at this point, again, linguistically even, again, the letter S and the letter C, they're like iteration placeholders or something. The E and the N and the O and the R, and again, R and N are related geometrically, and the E and the O are related geometrically. We're just showing some fundamental iteration. And then once we get to the differentiation, establishing sensorality to its operative pair word, then we can just reduce the whole thing. Because we're still just defining a vocab word that just hasn't been used, but we have to take it through the entirety of logical structure, including all of the sections of physics, math, linguistics that people don't know. But just pulling all of this logic as the direct progression of the words. Sensorality is, again, up to apprenticeship, right? What is an apprentice to an ambassador? And so, again, all of these questions are not redundant, but rhetorical, just to show you some sort of comparison, some sort of differentiation logically made amongst the words. An apprentice to an ambassador, right? Somebody subordinate to somebody more hierarchical. And they're not really that, they don't really matter. They're just showing you the logical progression. Not even, I would say because you've never seen this before, but this is how logic progresses. And so when they say, in math class, show your steps of a proof, it's like, there's quite a few, and there's, like I said, there's so many more than the ones I'm writing down or showing you, but now I know people know what I'm doing, but when you're a 7-year-old, people don't. And I've done this whole process, but hey dude, yeah man, I can't do any science because I've derived it all, and the only way to do that is to literally demonstrate it as a physical limit, and it comes around like Halley's Comet once every like 7 years. So trust me bro, I'm just gonna sit here and just wait for it to happen. See, that makes no sense? But for the ability for me to sit down and prove something like the fucking Riemann hypothesis, or P versus NP, or Navier-Stokes, I mean, these stuff is truly trivial. To a point where it's like, again, I would have rightfully earned $12 million of mathematics in like 5 seconds when I'm like 6. And so, seeing these comments, again, positive and negative comments do absolutely nothing for me. Negative comments, I just want the behavior documented so they're not allowed into science. Positive comments where it's like, yeah, dude, small channel, fire topic. It's like, brother, this is my 4th time deriving all of logical structure to a point where it's provably bounded, where there's nothing else that exists. And so, physically. And so, I don't really care who learns from my work, and I want people to understand that historically. It's like, I'm just demonstrating you how words work, and I've been treated so profoundly disgusting, like in such a disgusting manner, that I don't even want to help people. Like, I objectively don't. Not as some sort of emotional statement, but it's not my job to wipe your ass for you. And the amount of arrogance and delusion and just straight up crime that's been committed against me, I honestly just want to treat this place like a fucking goofy goober island. The Dork Patrol is out and about again. We're going to solve the dark energy super colliders. Sabine Hasenfelter And I just get on YouTube yesterday and see Sean Carroll doing his Ask Me Anything. And it's such a true, like, historical thing. I don't want you guys to view me as some person being personally angry. To see people, right, Sean Carroll's on there commenting about the ICE agents murdering people in the streets, which ICE is doing. And we commented that on legal class. But then to see Sean Carroll, like, he's getting on there, he's like, you know, sometimes it matters to speak more about social issues than it does about, you know, dark black holes or dark energy and stuff, as if physics isn't, and like education more holistically, isn't the most relevant thing to changing and moderating behavior. Teaching people to grow up by demonstration. And so you see these people, truly, when you were a scapegoat, you get tortured by people who've been like slightly abused a little bit, and they don't like it. It's like it doesn't like register to them that they are the exact problem they think they're not. Sean Carroll could open his mouth right now today, and at any point in the past 10 years, and told the truth about profound scientific progress, which helps improve the maturity of all behavior everywhere immediately. And it's not even like, I can take you back to 2018, Sean. Remember when you and your fucking faggot fucking friends went on a hike? And you told me to like be patient with new ideas? Do you see this proof now yet, Professor? It's a physical demonstration, and you arrogant fucking idiots were too stupid to understand what I sent you. Right? I sent you the final results, and you're like, let's talk about what? What the fuck is there to talk about? It's a proof. And so, from my perspective, I see the entirety of the academic structure. They don't have no idea what mathematics is. No fucking idea. We're going to do a proof by deduction. We're going to do a proof by induction. We're going to do a proof. Logic, what I've called logical exhaustion, is effectively showing the internal consistency of language, and we've all used it. And I've already shown this multiple times. So there's nothing for you arrogant assholes to do. Literally, provably. And you're too stupid to understand that. And when I send you those results, you objectively don't know what's going on. Fucking historically hilarious. But then to see you guys continue on anybody from the academic community, and that's typically where you get your liberals or people sticking it, getting away from, you know, they're a little more edgy and they'll stick it to the man, or they'll stand up for rights, or they'll go to a protest. That's typically, you know, your social justice professor type ideology. There's not a single professor or person in academia that isn't a hypocrite to the point of first-degree murder. You guys lying about science is a direct choice that causes death. No different than taking a gun and blowing someone's head off. So Professor Carroll, if you want to stand up for people dying, speak on science. You have a platform to speak on science, speak on it. But that's right, you're a bitch, you're a faggot, and you're a fucking loser. So keep acting like you're some social justice trailblazer, dude. Anyway, you continue to violate the law. Figured to give you some free science, because you guys can't derive all of science. And again, we're way past science, dude. Anything in logical structure, well, I guess that is science, but way past mathematics, and way past physics. Physics is. And so, thank you for watching. I will continue to be the victim of crime, and I will see you on the next one.